I'm here with Robert Sinclair, Chief Executive for the Association of Mortgage Intermediaries, and we're going to be discussing the retention markets. Thanks, Rob, for coming along.
Pleasure.
First question. Mortgage Strategy published an article in April 2016 stating that half of the top 10 largest lenders have no plans to bring in broker procuration fees for retention business. What has caused them to rethink their strategies, do you think?
Well, I think a series of things happened towards the back end of last year where a couple of lenders started to move forwards on online technology, and that caused a bit of reaction from the broker market where they felt that they weren't being entirely straight and fair with us as they were beginning to do things themselves without sharing everything with the intermediary world. That saw some reactions in terms of, I wouldn't call it anger, but frustration, I think, in terms of whether the partnership was meaningful. And that caused some issues for some of the business development managers around the country, and it caused a lot of pushback, I think, from some firms back into the senior management of those lenders. That's then meant that they went away and thought about what they were doing as we were moving into 2017. I think the first of the dominoes that really toppled was Santander. Their decision to move to retention procuration fees meant that other lenders had to then reconsider where they were. And I think we ended up in a position where nobody wanted to be the last man standing with not paying. And therefore that meant that Nationwide and RBS decided they had to follow suit, and then others also gave a commitment. The challenge we still have, however, is that these are just commitments at the moment to do this later in the year, as opposed to actually paying money now. We've really got to make sure that we hold them to account and make sure they deliver during 2017 the promises they've made.
Do you think the 0.2 fee recently introduced by a number of big lenders is justifiable amount to be paid to brokers for the work they do on retention cases?
I think it's a good start. I mean, is it justifiable? Yes, it probably is justifiable from their end in that they're now paying for something that they weren't paying for before but probably getting. Is it enough to justify the risk and the liability and the work that the broker's doing? I'm not so sure, because most brokers will be doing exactly the same work for a retention case as they would for a new business case or a further advance or rebroking a case fully, because they'll have to do a proper fact find, make sure the customer's in the same place. They'll have to search the market and make a decision whether it's right to stay or move. They'll have to have the same discussions with the customer. If they stay where they are, they might have slightly less work to do in terms of making the presentation blender and producing paperwork. But is that a big enough gap between a 0.35, 0.4 versus 0.2? Probably not. Therefore, I think it's a great start. It's the best place to be, but I hope it will move up over time.
Given at least currently retention fees are so low versus new business fees, do you think brokers might live to regret the mass call for the introduction of fees?
I don't know. I think there's always an argument that says that we could see fees come downwards, i.e. if we're only paying 0.2 for retention, why are we paying more for new business? And I think that's a wrong place to look at things, because I think these distributors, the manufacturers of mortgages, use intermediaries as a direct marketing and delivery channel. They accept, I think, there's a cost of running that business, there's a cost of the individual, the technology, and also the insurance cover and the costs of being FCA regulated, which are becoming more and more significant. And the amount of work we now have to do for a lender to get a case through is more than it's ever been. Therefore, the cost to the broker of undertaking this business continues to escalate. Another part of the big changes that of course happened was one lender bringing in a minimum procuration fee, so people in some parts of the country are now feeling a real benefit of that from me. And I think that's a big change which has got a lot of benefit. So do I see this as something that's difficult? Clearly, when we've got price differentials in the marketplace for similar types of work, that might cause regulators to look at what we're doing. But I don't see any issues where we're doing anything that's wrong, and as long as brokers keep doing the right thing by the customer, doing the job properly, doing proper fact finds, proper sourcing, proper recommendations, then we have nothing to fear.
Thank you. Do you see the retention market eventually becoming a self-select process for a client, and that lenders paying retention fees now is just a market force stopgap until they can produce an auto-advice model?
I think the advent of technology is clearly an influence on this market. They may well be thinking that they can apply this as a sort of tourniquet or a stopgap. But I think that would be interesting in that some consumers might want to self-select through technology, others will still want the comfort of talking to somebody. Our challenge as an industry, as intermediaries, is to make sure that's what the customer needs and wants and benefits from. So whilst technology may come and people could build algorithms or systems that help customers self-select, we have to be good enough and smart enough with the customer by way of regular contact, communication, and making them feel that they want to engage with us because we're the experts. And therefore, if we do that well, by giving them all the right information on a regular basis that keeps them engaged, then they won't go to technology because they will just want to come and talk because that's the right thing to do. People will try to interfere with technology, but what we have to do is also build technology that makes it simpler for the customer. So our front and back end systems must support the customer by letting them engage easily with us at a time they want, fix appointments online so that when we contact them easily, allow them to upload information, and then afterwards let them track what's happened and communicate with us through technology. Just take that middle bit out of talking. That's the really important and valuable bit, both for us and the consumer.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.